So, welcome to our QuickBooks Point of Sale Making Sales webinar. We're going to take a look at making sales. We'll look at how to add customers, how to enter items on our sales receipt. We'll look at how to do a discount. We'll look at different tender types. We'll take a look at doing returns. We'll look at how to accept a return. We'll talk about scanning the receipt barcode or entering a receipt number to choose the right item that is being returned. We'll look at how to change an item to a return item. We'll look at how to select how we're returning the money to the client. We'll take a look at customer orders. We'll see how to create a sales order, how to complete a sales order. We'll look at creating a layaway, how to take payments on a layaway, and how to complete a layaway. We'll talk about mobile POS and working with the mobile POS, which only works if you have Intuit Merchant Services and then you download the GoPayment app onto your mobile device. So we want to start out with taking a look at making sales. So we'll switch over to my QuickBooks Point of Sale. So for making sales, we've got a couple of three options. We can go to the blue Make a Sales button on the left side. We can go to the Make a Sale icon on the navigator. We could go up to Point of Sale on the menu bar and choose New Sales Receipt. No matter which one you choose, you're going to end up in the same place. You're going to end up in a new sales receipt. Once you are in that sales receipt, you are then able to choose what it is that you want to do. You have two basic options here and here. You've got enter an item onto the sales receipt that the customer is buying, and you have enter the customer's name on the sales receipt if you choose. If you're entering a customer's name, you can enter their last name or their phone number, and it will allow you to add them to your sales receipt. For the customer's last name, you can start typing their name, and as you type, the names that meet that criteria will pop up. You can choose a name, and it will add that name to your sales receipt. I also have customer rewards turned on my system, and that's what this little icon means here in the front of the name, is that that is a customer rewards customer. And you can see when I point at it, it also says they need to spend another $181.49 to earn their next reward. So I've got my customer on there. My next step is to add an item to the receipt. There are 3 or 4 choices in how to do that. I can add the item to a receipt by scanning the barcode, which is the ideal way. I can also do it by entering the item number off an item. I can type in a description of the item, and I can click on the little drop down and pick the item from the drop down list. So if I wanted this rules of art, I could select that, and that would add that to my sales receipt. I could also type in the item number of an item that I wanted to add and press enter, and that will add that item to my sales receipt. I also have the option of typing a keyword for something I'm looking for. And if I type water, it brings up all my different things that have water in them. And I can look through the list and see which one it is I'm looking for and select the correct one. I wanted the watercolor kit, and it will add that to my sales receipt. Once I have all the items on the sales receipt that I'm looking for, the next step is to pay for that transaction. To pay for the transaction, at the bottom of the receipt, I have my different tender choices. I've got cash, credit, debit, check, gift cards or gift certificates, depending on which one I use, or both, and account. With cash, I can take one cash tender transaction. I can do 3 different credit cards. I can do 1 debit card, 1 check, 1 gift certificate, 3 different gift cards, and 1 account. I can do any combination of those, and I could even do all of them. So we've got a total of $82.94, and David here wants to give me $40 cash and put the rest on his Visa. Whenever you have a known amount that someone wants to give you, you always want to start by entering that number first. So I'm going to go to cash. I will enter the $40. I do not need to put a decimal in the cents unless I'm not doing an even amount. I do save, and it adds the $40 cash to my tenders and leaves me with a balance of $42.94. I can go to my credit cards. I'm not set up to use Intuit credit cards, so therefore I simply tell it what kind of card I am taking as a payment. If I was using Intuit credit cards, it would say authorize now. I would click on authorize now, and it would then go out and get that credit card approved. It would ask the customer to insert the credit card into the PIN pad or to swipe it if it was a debit card. They are working on fixing that so that you'll be able to insert the debit cards into the chip reader as well, but they haven't quite got that ironed out yet. So I'm paying by Visa. So I've got my cash and I've got my Visa payment. My amount due is 0, so I'm good. I can save it if the customer doesn't want a receipt, or I can save and print it. And I'm going to do a print preview. And we can see what that receipt would look like if I were to print it out. We can see that it also says here, because I'm using the rewards program, that David now needs to spend another $98.55 in order to earn his next reward. So everything is good. I printed my receipt. Down here I have a receipt number, which tells me what that receipt is, which I can use if I am doing a refund. I can enter that number, and it will show me all the items that were bought on that particular receipt. I also have turned on to ask me if I want to print a gift certificate. I can say no, or if I say yes, it will print a gift certificate, and that's what the gift certificate would look like. Again, it has the barcode for that receipt number. And that receipt is finished. And point of sale stays in the make a sale screen unless you exit out of it. So you're ready for the next customer to come up and make a purchase. So we looked at adding a customer to a receipt. We looked at entering items. I don't have a barcode scanner, so we didn't scan a barcode, but we entered an item number. We typed in an item number. We searched for an item using item details. We also want to do miscellaneous items and a quick pick item. So back over in point of sale, if I want to do a quick pick item, I click on quick picks. I choose what group I want to pick an item out of. That's if I have any items that are set up as quick pick. I kind of doubt it because it didn't say anything I would have customized. But I can set up a quick pick item fairly easily by canceling out of my receipts, going to my item list, and I can find something that I want to add to a quick pick group. I might add this one here to a quick pick group. I would edit that item. Down here under quick pick groups, I can create a group. And I'm going to call this one tickets. And I will save that. And I've now added that item to the tickets. I'm also going to pick this one and add that one to that same group. Now that I created it, that group exists, and I can simply add that item to that group. So now that I've got a quick pick group with some items in it, I can go back to make a sale. I can choose the quick pick items. I've got that tickets button I made. And if I find this really boring, I can come up here and I can right click on that one, which I'm not using, and I can remove it from the list. And I can remove any groups that I may not be using. And those three groups I just removed are just the default Windows groups. I can also right click on this group and I can change the color in case I find gray to be a little boring, and I can make it a different color. To add a ticket, I click on tickets. I decide which ticket is I want to add, and I can look at the tickets in two different views. I've got this view, or I can do this view, either one, and then I can pick the ticket that I want to add to my receipt. So I'm going to add the gala ticket, and it will add that to my receipt. If I had something that was a miscellaneous item that I needed to sell, a miscellaneous item would be an item that for some reason is not in your list of items. Hopefully, those are very, very rare. But maybe you have an old display that you're not using, and someone wants to buy that display. You could sell that display. It very well may not be in your item list as an item, but you could sell it as a miscellaneous item. To do that, I choose, I want to sell miscellaneous item. It asks me how much I'm going to sell it for, and I'll put $25. If I do a miscellaneous item, I never want to leave miscellaneous item as the name. I always want to edit it, and I want to add what it is. So I'm going to put card display, and I will say OK, because that way when I'm looking at my sales in a report, it's not going to just say miscellaneous item. I'm going to have a clue as to what it was. And if I find later that that item actually was in my item list, I can go back and do an exchange for the miscellaneous item I did and sell the correct item it was. Because a miscellaneous item has a couple of disadvantages as far as your inventory and items are concerned. Number one, it has no cost associated with it. So the item shows up as 100% profit. The second thing is it's not an item in inventory. So therefore, if it really should have been an item in inventory, nothing gets reduced from inventory. So your inventory does not show that that item is out of inventory, so your inventory counts are going to end up being off. So I've got those items. I want to sell that. I'm going to use a gift certificate that I have. The gift certificate is for $25. I'm redeeming it. I could also sell a gift certificate if I wanted to. Your gift certificate should have a number on it, and you want to enter that certificate number and do a save. That adds the gift certificate to your sales and reduces the amount that is owed to balance out the ticket. I'm going to pay the balance with the MasterCard. Everything's good. I can save and print, and we can see the way that receipt looks. It asks me if I want to do a gift receipt. I don't need to do a gift receipt this time, so I'll simply say no. And we're back ready to add a brand new receipt to our register. So we've looked at entering an item. We've looked at searching for an item, selling a miscellaneous item, using Quick Picks. That leaves us with discounts. We've talked about the different tender types that are available. And we've even used a couple of them. So I'm going to add another item to my receipt. So I've got this logo cap that sells for $12.95, but I am trying to reduce my stock on those. So I've got them all at 20% off. So I'm going to go to quantity price discount. I will come down here and give a reason. I've got 6 different reasons. I can change those reasons to reflect any other reasons you might be given a discount. I can get rid of any that you'll never use, and I can have at least 8 different options of why you would give a discount. So I'm going to put down that this is a comp, and I'm going to put 20%. If I was doing 10, 15, 25, or 50, I could click one of the buttons up here. But since I'm not, I need to enter it down here. I can either enter the percentage, or I could enter a discount amount that the item is being discounted. If I enter a discount amount, it will calculate a percentage. I tell it OK. It shows here that I have discounted this item 20%. It's regular $12.95. It's now on sale for $10.36. All right. I'm also going to go to my gifts this time. And this person wants to buy a $25 gift certificate. So I'm going to go purchase a certificate for $25. And the certificate is number 2585. We'll say save. It adds that gift certificate to my sales and gives me the new total of $35.36. My customer is going to pay for this with a check. I'll choose check, and I need to enter their check number for the check and save it. It zeroes us out. And again, I can save and print, and we can see what our receipt would look like if we were to print it out. Do I want to print a gift receipt? No, I don't need a gift receipt. So, if my customer comes back and wants to return something that they purchased, then I come over here to accept return. Accept return is then asking me to scan or enter the receipt number. So I choose the receipt number. I click on the receipt. It shows me what was on that receipt. To get out or to return an item, I pick what I'm returning. If they had bought more than one hat, I could click over here where it says return quantity and enter they're returning just one. If they're returning all of them that they bought, I simply choose return and add that item to my receipt. Return items show up in red. And it also says it is a return item. It also shows me what receipt that occurred on. So I'm going to return their money. It assumes I am returning the money as cash unless I choose one of the other tender types to return it as. So I will give them back cash. I'll do a save and print. I'll say OK. I'll preview. And we can see the receipt. Shows we gave change back. And I have returned those items. And they go back into stock when you return an item. I could also return an item by entering an item directly on the receipt. So let's see. And clicking the return item button, that will make it a return receipt. I didn't enter a receipt I'm returning it from, so the receipt number it puts is this receipt here itself. You might have also noticed that when I returned that hat, it returned it at the $10.36 that the customer bought it at. It knew that there was a discount on it. This item here, because I'm not returning it off an existing receipt, assumes that the item is at full price. If the person paid a discount or got a discount on this item, it's not going to be reflected, and I'm going to be returning too much money to that customer. So it's important to always have a receipt when you're accepting a return so that you can make sure that you're returning the right amount for the items that they bought. If you're not sure, you can go over here and go to sales history. And sales history shows you your receipts. I'm looking at the last 30 days. I could take it back to all receipts and see all the receipts I've done. When I'm looking at the all receipts, if the receipt was from a certain person, I can type in their name and I will see just their receipts. I can then select one of the receipts, say show details, and I can see what is on that particular receipt. So that I can make sure that I'm returning the right item from the right person for the right amount. I can also add a button here under Make a Sale for sales history. I can right-click, Customize Button, come over here and find Sales History. I can add that to the buttons, and now I've got a Sales History button. I can jump over to Sales History. I can also jump back to Make a Sale. A little bit more convenient than having to exit out and make a sale and go to Sales History to see Sales History. Right. Sometimes you might have a customer, assuming you offer that option, who wants to place a customer order or a special order for something. For that, you would go to customer orders, tell it what kind of order they're placing. It could be a sales order or it could be a layaway. If we choose a sales order, it will open up our sales order. You'll notice at the bottom left-hand corner, there's a box with a red asterisk. That means a customer name is required, and I must choose a customer to put on this sales receipt. So if I add a customer, I then would need to, I can add the items that this customer is purchasing. So if we come up here, again, I got the choice to pull down my list and see items there. I can type in something that describes that item. And a neat thing about searching is you don't always have to type the entire name of an item. So I can do these T-Rex buttons by typing T-Rex. I could also look for items that have a logo on it, and I can pick something that has a logo on it, and I can add those items. I really don't need to do a sales order for these items because you can see that I have more than one on hand. So I'm really not out of them, so there's no real reason to put them on a sales order unless the customer's calling me on the phone and wanting to place that order, and then they're going to come in and get it later. I can write them up and set it up that way. Next thing is, do I have any special instructions I need to add down here for this particular sales order? If not, I can save and print this sales order. It pops up and says I need to collect a deposit of $8.10. You'll notice it says suggested. That's because I have my system set up to allow me to normally take a 50% deposit, but I can make exceptions and not take any deposit at all, especially if the customer's ordering it over the phone and are going to come by and pick it up later, as opposed to special ordering something that I don't have in stock or something I don't normally carry. So I'm going to collect the $9, I'm going to collect $10. Customer's going to give me a $10 bill. We're going to say, okay. They're going to pay it with cash. I'll accept that payment. I will save and print my deposit. When I preview it, I get a receipt for the deposit amount, and it tells me how much is still outstanding to pay off this order. It shows me the gift receipt, and it also shows me the actual order and what it was that customer ordered. And on here, it also shows me the balance that is due to finish paying off this sales order. So now that we have that sales order in place, I can see here under order list, I have an item that has been placed on order. If I go to my order list, I can go to view orders, and I can see that sales order. When John comes in to pick this stuff up, I want to be sure to go to that order list and reopen my order list and that original sales order. Come up to sell items, and I can sell those items. John could take one of the items, but not both, or he can pick up everything. If he's picking up everything, I would simply do select all and continue. That's going to add them all to my sales receipt. This dialog box says I can sell more items on this receipt if I want to. And I can say okay. I see my items. I see my deposit down here, and I see John still owes $6.20. And John's going to pay that with cash. He's going to give me $10. I'll say save. I will put him a receipt. It tells me that I need to give him $3.80 change. As soon as I hit save and print, if I have a cash drawer hooked up to my system, it's going to pop the cash drawer. I say OK. It will then print the receipt. And I can see the finished receipt. I had a deposit of 10. I took cash of 10, and I gave him back $3.80 change. If I go back and look at my order list, there's nothing there now. Because once you complete an order, it becomes a closed order. And that order then shows up here under all orders. And you can see that order. And you can see the status up here is closed. You really don't need any closed sales orders or closed layaways, because that means you've completely finished with them, you've delivered them to the customer, or they've been canceled and they've changed their mind. So I can get rid of this by going up here to I want to, delete sales order, and tell it delete, and it goes away, and I don't have it hanging out in my system. You want to keep those old orders cleared out, because otherwise all they do is clutter up your system. They make your backups bigger, and they will eventually slow down your system if you have enough of them pending that you haven't gotten rid of. We can also do a layaway, very similar to a sales order. Looks the same. We pick a customer who is going to do our layaway. We choose the items that we're going to put on layaway. We then are going to add these to the layaway. We're going to say save and print. Again, it says you need to collect the deposit. And I've got the deposit at 1/3 of the total layaway. I'll say OK. And I'm going to put $10, accept payment. It says I need to give them $1.44 change. I'll accept the change, save and print. And we get the deposit money on the layaway, showing they still have an outstanding balance of $17.38. And it says to give them their $1.44 change. And then it prints the actual layaway receipt for the items that were put on layaway. That will now show up in my order list under layaways. So if Betty comes back and wants to make another payment on her layaway, I can select my layaway. I like to go to collapse. I could go to I want to and take a deposit or payment. If I collapse it, make sure I'm looking at the right stuff, I come over here and say take a deposit. And she wants to put down another $10. I'll accept that payment, save and close, preview, and I get a receipt for the payment of $10, showing me her total deposit is now $18.56, and she still owes $7.38. So when Betty finally comes back to pick up our merchandise, again, we go to sales order or customer orders. Stop that. Open orders. We go to layaway. We find our layaway. This time I don't need to take a deposit. I'm going to sell the items. I'm going to sell everything. I'll do a continue. It's going to open up a sales receipt. It shows me the deposit that has been put down. The balance is still owed. So Betty's going to pay that off with a $10. She's got $2.62 change coming. I'll save and print. It says give her the change. We say okay. And we get the sales receipt that shows her the item she bought, her total amount, her change she got, her deposit, and the cash she used on this transaction. And that she has no more balance left. It's really important to use the sell items on customer orders and layaways, especially when there's a deposit on those items. Because otherwise the deposits don't get cleared out of the system and you can't get rid of the outstanding order without returning that deposit. So it's really important that you go to item list, find the original sales order or layaway, and complete it by selling the items. That will then use the deposit, clear it out, and move the item to the closed list of items. And we will see now that we don't have anything hanging out in layaways either. When we're looking at all layaways, we see that one is closed. And again, I have no use for it, so I can delete the closed layaway. All right. So, looking back over here at our agenda, that takes us to sales, returns, customer orders and layaways, and brings us to mobile POS. Mobile POS, if you use Intuit Merchant Services, allows you to go out and go to the App Store and download an app called GoPayment. It can be done on an Android phone or tablet or an Apple iPhone or tablet. Then you would have to go to your merchant services and invite someone to use the mobile app. After they've been invited, they would accept that. They would create themselves a password. Then, after they've downloaded the app, they would run the app on their mobile device. The login would be their email address and whatever they gave you or whatever they entered for a password. That would let them into the mobile device, where they can then select items that you've added to the mobile sale list, and then they can sell those items off the mobile device. In the items list, there is a checkbox that says sync to mobile. If that checkbox is checked, it then sends that item out to your mobile device when you do a sync. And you can see there's also a checkbox here that says what is or isn't part of my mobile sales. If we go to mobile sync, we can run a demo that shows us the mobile. and that's Mobile Sync. It allows you to choose those items, sell them off the mobile device, accept a credit card, cash, or check as payment. It then sends that transaction back to point of sale, and it will show up here in your sales history. The items get transferred back according to what you set for mobile preferences. And under our preferences in company, we have Mobile Sync down here, and we tell it how often to sync data. We can go anywhere from 5 minutes to 24 hours, and at those time frames, point of sale will send up to the cloud what has happened in point of sale so that the mobile device can download it and see what's happened. When the mobile device makes a sale, it will also upload that so that point of sale can download it and add it to your sales. You also have the option to come up here and sync whenever you want to sync that mobile device. All right. So, any questions on anything? I don't hear any questions. So, that's all I've got for you today.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Bill in North Carolina. On the using the work order for a sales order for a special order,
Right.
and we have multi-store. And can you see what the remote stores are doing on their special orders?
The headquarters can see what the remote stores do. The remote stores do not see what the other stores do. Headquarters will see it all, but the local store will only see what it did.
Okay. And so would the headquarters get to it through the view button under special orders or order list?
They'd click on the order list, and they would see all the orders showing there.
Okay. I'll give that a test try.
Any other questions? No? All right. If you think of anything, you can drop me an email or give us a call. My email is darrellf@bighairydog.com. That's DARRELLF like Franklin @bighairydog.com. And so you can drop me an email or you can give us a call, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. This webinar will also be available on our website if you want to review it, and they will send you out a note letting you know where you can find it. So, everybody have a marvelous one, and we'll talk to you a little later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.